Hello and welcome to the, I'm calling it the Northern Exile showcase. Well, it's a showcase with prizes, so there you go. We're doing that now. So that should be really, really cool. Let me just make sure I know what the prizes are before I start running over and doing other things. There we go. Right, so we have first prize today is £20 of models and free paint from Composite Games. So, free 20 quid. And the second prize is £15 of models or paint from Composite Games, who are our lovely channel sponsors. I do not mind if you win one of these prizes. I do not mind if what you want to do, or what you want is £2 to £5 more than your prize. I don't mind that at all, right? So there's just a vague hint of how much you're getting. So I'm joined by Oasis today, who's going to be taking me through all of the submissions and things like that. Please bear in mind, this has kind of exploded on us, and so there are a lot of things we haven't been able to put on the channel, or we'd be here for 4 or 5 hours. So if you have sent anything in, please rest assured we have seen it. At least one of us has seen it, right? And we've been very impressed. But we've had to narrow them down to 10. What was it? 10 entrants, and did you do 3?
Indeed, 3
honourable mentions.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So, before we go anywhere, let me just whack this on here. Excellent. So, Oasis, what was the remit of this month's competition?
So, the this month's competition, differing from last competition, is that we were now looking for a champion, and the champion's home/home world.
Okay.
So our points were on 5 different categories. Proximity to the theme. Is it a champion? Is it glorious? Originality. How original is it? Painting skill, of course. Is it well painted? The home/home world. If it's obvious or not. Where does this champion come from? Where do they feel at home? And of course, photo quality. This is simply if your miniature is visible, details are determinable, etc. If your photos aren't good, we can't really give you many points on the other things. So
yeah, that was something that a lot of people were missing out on last time. One thing I wanted to point out is a lot of these that I've seen have been really good models but terrible photographs. We can't judge something, you know, unless we can see it at the end of the day. And we're marking these out of 5, right?
Exactly, we're marking them out of 25,
okay.
Each theme or category getting 5 points.
So proximity to theme, originality, painting skill. What was the 4th one?
Home/home world.
Home/home world. There we go. Home world.
A home world or home?
Home/home world. Either or. It's fine. Awesome. And photo quality, of course. Yeah. So photo quality. This is simply, if it's of your miniature, it needs to be visible, and the details are determinable. Like, we can actually look at them and see what's here. An 8K photo will get as many points as a 1080p photo. As long as we can see it, you know, we're not going to give you loads of points because you've got, like, a really snazzy camera. As long as we can see it, you know, we'll give the same amount of points, as long as we can see all the detail and see what the hell is going on. So, first of all, we have, this is Biome, is it not?
Yes, Biome 3 on the Discord server.
This is Biome 3 on the Discord server. So, is there anything written with it? So, what Oasis has in front of him is if you've written anything to accompany your model, he will read it out for us as we go, so I can have a look at it and take it all in. So, is there anything written for this model, or is this just a model?
There is indeed a tiny bit written.
Okay.
There's an explanation of how they kit bashed it. It was using the new Mark 6 Marine kit, various weapons, etc., the Ultramarine's chapter armor. And then there's a small quotation included.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter champions are willing to lay down their lives in defense of their chapter master, and in battle, they are ready to face the challenges of any enemy leader in single combat with all their training focused on this singular duty. The Ultramarine's chapter champion is unmistakable on the battlefield. His golden helmet and dual blades are a sight to behold. Any who witness him in battle know exactly which chapter he hails from, as well as his homeworld, which is embossed on his shoulder pad in brilliant gold.
Nice. Okay. So, one thing that does stand out to me, I love blues and lighter blues, that when they mix together. The shoulder pad on the left-hand side, I really like the way that the blue is catching the light there. I think that's really, really good in terms of skill. I really like the swords. I can give or take. I'm not really a big fan of like just metal swords. I like using like flames and stuff, but still brilliant. It's a gladius at the end of the day, you know. The gold work is sensational. The gold work is amazing, and I wish I could do gold this good. In fact, I think you've highlighted that in Stormhost Silver, which is something that I need to start doing because it just looks amazing. So, just gonna mark it on the thing here. Let's have a little look at my. So we've got proximity to the theme. It definitely is it definitely is heroic. It's a champion, so brilliant on that one. I'm not going to give a mark just yet. We'll hear what Oasis has to say first. But originality, well, it's an Ultramarine. So, like, any Ultramarine on originality is going to suffer, unfortunately, because he's an Ultramarine at the end of the day. But he is posed in a really nice way, and it is a conversion. So you will be getting points for that as well. Painting skill, I think this is a phenomenal painting job. I really love it. I love the depths of the blues. And it can be quite hard to do blocky colours justice. And I really think on the back of the armour here, you've really done a good job of highlighting that blue. So yeah, painting skill, brilliant. Really like it. And home world, we may lose points here because well, I know it's on the shoulder pad, that's great. But he's standing on some rock at the end of the day. He's not surrounded by anything. I do like the shoulder pad. I do like, you know, the way that you put it on there. That's really cool. And that you've called attention to it. And the photo quality as well. Really good photo. I really do like it. It's not the next one, is it? No. Okay, so what do you think, Oasis? What do you think of Biome's entry?
I certainly do agree with your point on the metallics, especially the highlights on the golds. While the swords do appear to just be basic lead belcher, the golds, especially the tassels and the little hooks at the end of the tassels, I think are absolutely gorgeous. Regarding the armor, it's probably some of the best Ultramarine armor I've ever seen, and you can tell that the base was very simple and just constructed to show off that armor, sort of put it up on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
The one gripe I have with this model is that if you look at the top of the, I think it's, I would call it a mohawk, but I know it's not the right term. It's just plain white, when on the sides, the little bits have been colored black. If some kind of texturing would have been done to the top of that, it would have looked a bit better, I feel, because right now it just looks like white marble.
Okay, that's fine. So, I gave this one a 5, a 2, a 5, a 3, and a 5. So I gave it a 5 for proximity to theme. Stuck really close to it. A 2 for originality. It's a Space Marine hero, and it's an Ultramarine. Yeah. Painting skills are 5. Homeworld and home is a 3 because it is on the shoulder pad, so we got some points for that. But it's still on a base that we can't really see much of the world. And the photo quality is a 5 too because it's a really nice photo. So that's what I gave it. That would be 20 overall.
Yeah, I've mostly agreed with you. 5 to 5 on the paint. No, sorry, not painting skill. The homeworld one. I feel like that sort of just having it written there isn't really enough to give the context of the homeworld, especially considering that you don't often read the text that's on miniatures unless it's huge text on a Titan. I'm not going to look at a champion and just read every single little thing on its pauldron and, oh, I know exactly what this means. No, it doesn't really imply homeworld to me. It's just a place written there.
One thing we didn't talk about was the eye lenses and how good they are. Do you know what? I'm going to give you, for painting skill, I'm going to give you an extra point because those eye lenses are sensational. I'm actually going to give you 6. I know you're meant to give 5, but I do give extra points if something's beyond the pale. Really good. Because, put it this way, everybody has different levels of skill. But if I really like something, you're going to get like a 4 or a 5. But if I think you're just a baseline terrific painter and you've done a really amazing job, you might get 1 extra point here or there. So I really like that. So I'm going to give him an extra point because I can. So fuck it. There you go. 21. So next we have. Let me just get the chaos.
I didn't finish my points.
Oh, go on then. Sorry.
I didn't finish my points. So I for the final pointage for photos, I put it as a 4 because a lot of the resolution of the image I feel was wasted on the white around him. They could have been zoomed in more, and when I'm trying to look at this miniature, the photos, I'm trying to zoom in, and a lot of the stuff I lose just to pixels. So I gave it a 4. So all of it, a total of 18. With your 21, it becomes 39.
Okay. Let me just 18 equals 39. There we go. So, number 2. This is Crossfire with a Chaos Sorcerer, it looks like. Right. Does this come with any sort of background?
Aye, it does. It had been many nights since Khonsu had ascended to the ranks of the Knight's Vale. Adorned in his new armor, he stood bathed in the starlight of Anminer's night sky. With the approval of the sorcerers, the chapter serfs draped in ceremonial robes began painting the sky onto his armor. Every detail of the night is meticulously memorialized on his armor. But now it is a different time. His brothers are nothing but dust, mindless parodies of what they once were. His only wish is that his brothers are returned to their flesh so they may look upon the stars again.
Alright, I like it. In terms of the night sky, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see what you're going for. My eyes are immediately drawn to the tufts that are at the bottom of the base. I really like this, though. Again, this is what I mean by there are different levels of painting skill, but some of the ideas are absolutely sensational. I love the fact that you've actually got a moon on his cape there as well. For me, this is very blocky in terms of colours, so it's very one tone. You know, it's very it's not very bright and colourful. I like bright and colourful, but if you're going for a night sky look, there's only so much that you can do really. I love the headrest, the headcrest, sorry. Yeah, I just think this is a thin your paints. Also, that's another thing that we need to talk about. Thin your paints Crossfire. We need to make sure that that's happening a lot. But as a model and as a background lore, that's the thing that really gets it for me. Is that it really does make it pop. And I'm not sure if a conversion's been done on this. Is this a Chaos Sorcerer model that you can get, or has this been totally converted?
I'm completely unsure. The most I can think of is maybe Emperor's Children. Not Emperor's Children. Never mind.
Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns there.
Yeah. So I really like this. I really love the idea. I'm not going to take away points so much for the stars that are on the armor, because I'm not sure how you would ever do that without it being looking like this. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure how you could ever do that without it looking like this. So, for me, because I don't want to be like ages in every single one, but for me, we are going with proximity to theme. He is heroic, so there is a 5. You have stuck to the brief. 3 points for you. Originality. We're going to go with a 4 for this one, because actually 3, because we gave 2 to Biome. So we're going to go with a 3 because of the night sky that's on the armor and things like that. Painting skill is also a 3. We need to be thinning down our paints. We need to be making sure that it's nice and thin, and this is a typical case of a really good painter taking on an idea that's really unwieldy. Do you know what I mean? This is such a difficult thing to do. I think the heavy metal team would struggle to paint this model freehand. You know what I mean? In any sort of time frame. So this is a very good painter taking on a huge job. And to be fair, the reason why you're getting a 3 is because you've done a decent job at it, right? I don't think anyone but somebody who's got a lot of time on his hands at the heavy metal team, or like a golden demon winner, would be able to do this and get higher points, you know, in such a short time frame. So, you know, for a layman, for a painter, this is great. Homeworld, I'm going to give you a 3 for the tufts, because I just really like them. Does he, in the lore, I know it says in the lore that he comes from a homeworld, but there's nothing on here that says where his homeworld is and what it is, you know? There's nothing actually on the model. This is why we gave a... What did we give? We gave a 3 last time, so I'm going to have to give it 2 this time. Because if we gave it a 3 last time, there was something on the model to tell you what his homeworld was. That's why you got a 3. So we're going to get a 2 for this. And photo quality is a 5 for me, simply because every detail I can see, it's very clear, very nicely put together. The shadows are nicely done as well. So yeah, that will get... Well, what do you think, first of all? And I'll add mine together as you're doing it.
Alright, well, so, I'll start off with proximity to theme. I think this is a 5. He's great. Mm-hmm. Especially just his pose looks so heroic and glorious that I wouldn't give it anything other than a 5. But for originality, I've given it a 4.
Okay.
I've never seen a model that looks like this, especially not with a night sky painted on a space marine. It was such a small model.
I've amended mine to a 4. Yep, that's a good point.
Yeah, honestly, this is when I saw this initially, I thought, wow, I've never seen anything like that. And especially with the story that was given alongside it. His homeworld, technically speaking, is painted onto his armor. You can see the view of the stars from his homeworld on his armor. And so in that case, painting skill, I've also followed you with a 3, but for homeworld, I've given it a 3 because you definitely have more of a connection to the homeworld than rather just its name written down.
And photo quality?
I've given it a 4 because while there are pretty great photos, I feel they're quite dark. Especially with an already dark model, it's going to be hard to... I would just prefer if they were lighter. Simply put.
Alright, what was your total?
My total was 19.
19.
Yep.
Oh, shit, we got 2 that are on 39. Okay.
Oh no.
So what we're going to do, I know, Oasis, you are in this compilation, or you're not? You are in it.
Yes, I am indeed in this compilation.
So what we will do for that is we'll, as you said before, we'll just double my mark for it, rather than you doing your own mark. I did amend that a little bit, because this is what I like about it. When you make a few points, it might be something that I've missed. So I did amend up and down, but we ended up with 20 and 19, so that would be on 39. So there's 2 models that are on 39 so far, for completely different reasons, which is why I like the painting competition so much. So, moving on. We have something that I really like this.
It has a Grey Knight helmet.
It has a Grey Knight helmet. This is Duck. And is there a bit of background to this? Hopefully there is.
Aye, there is.
Okay.
The Infernal Drakes were a fleet-based chapter that were nearly destroyed in a heroic rescue of the Voidwing chapter on Niloris. I can't pronounce that. Exile Draken is one of the few survivors of his chapter and was taken in by the Voidwing, who became the Abyssal Drakes in honor of their fallen brothers. Although he witnessed many of his brothers slain in the treacherous seas of the planet, his rage and fervor only grew. He now leads an elite Terminator strike team for the Abyssal Drakes and excels in shock assault missions, tearing up enemy forces from within their ranks. With his dual lightning claws, he is a ferocious combatant, eviscerating his foes to avenge his fallen chapter. Legends of the Dragon bursting through the waves and slaughters entire garrisons in mere moments echo through the Xenos and Heretics ranks.
All right, so was that was the end, wasn't it? I'm not like
That was indeed the end.
Okay. Alrighty. So I really like this model, but I'm getting a big sense that I'm liking it because I want to like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is a beautifully painted model. One thing that I did say last time, you have used inks on the bone pieces of the arm on the right shoulder guard there, and that's a really nice conversion piece. There's no reason why you can't use it on anywhere else. Like the metallic pieces on your armor should have at least a little bit of ink on them to give them that depth and tone, or they look like a bit of plastic that you stuck onto a model. It's so easy to do. It takes no time at all. You know, no excuse not for doing it. We need to be doing that with the models, but this looks like a beautifully posed piece. I really like the fact that you've got it like he's standing in a pose like he's just ripped apart this Necron and he's standing over it like, you know, like who's next sort of a thing. I like that. At the start, I didn't like the way the helmet was posed. It's just straight forwards, but I think that actually helps the model. It actually helps it that he's looking straight forward, like he's not looking anywhere else. He's looking straight at the camera, straight at the next model he's going to tear apart. The lighting effects are so well done. Like, you know, for a small channel like this, to have a skill like this presented is really nice. So this is absolutely beautiful work all the way across it, and I love the way that you've done the claws. The fact that they've got that white shimmering through, and you've been able to keep it on the line all the way down on the right hand as well. Absolutely brilliant. You have tried to edge highlight as well, which I really like. I love the color scheme of how dark they are. That looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Grey Knight helmet aside, I mean, maybe you did that to get some extra points, and if you did, then Okay. But I think it actually looks really, really good. I really do like this model. So, proximity to theme is a 5, and I'm glad we're giving lots of points for that this time around, because last time a lot of people were losing points because they just kept showing us models that weren't really on the theme. Originality is going to get a 4. The lore really does help the model, but at the end of the day, it's a really good conversion piece as well. That's why you're getting a 4. Painting skill, I'm also going to give it a... I'm going to give this a 5, simply because we gave Biome a 6 before for like a crisp, clear, amazing model. This is going to get a 5. It's exactly where I think it should be, as somebody who really knows what they're doing in terms of painting models. Homeworld. Now, here's the thing about Homeworld. This is where most points are being lost right now. He doesn't have a Homeworld anymore from the lore, I don't think. Or does he? They're fleet-based, are they not?
As far as I can see, they're fleet-based, correct.
Okay. So, really, he should be standing on a deck of some sort, if they're fleet-based. So, there's nothing really to show the Homeworld here, which is where you might lose points. So, I'm going to give you a 2. I should really give you a 1, because, like, there's no real mention of the Homeworld or anything like that. But I'm going to give you a 2, just in case I've missed something. I might have missed something. I have a funny feeling that I have. And in terms of photo quality, I really like the photo quality. We could be doing a bit more with shadows and things like that, and backdrops and things, so I'm going to give you a 4 for that rather than a 5. And that brings my total up to 21, which is decent. Alright, over to you.
So, in my case, being a Jurassic Park fan, I absolutely love the Tyrannosaurus skull on his shoulder pad. Absolutely adore it. The claws, the glowing effect from them is just absolutely splendidly well done. From the rear, the glowing's a bit awkward, especially on the snout of the skull. But otherwise, I agree with the fact that he should have used the inks elsewhere. And the neck on the base seems a tad bit out of place. Just it's
He just likes chilling there, doesn't he? He's just like, hey.
Yeah, it's oddly placed.
Just lying here.
He's all right. The helmet itself is just a solid white with the blue eyes.
Yeah.
Which I personally wouldn't be able to give a solution to that. It just feels a bit bland.
So with white, in terms of Grey Knight helmets, I only know this because I've done it on my purifiers. So we start with grey, work it up to white, but then in all of the recesses, get a really small brush, get some Norn oil on it, and just trace it in. And if you mess it up, don't worry, you just fill it in with some more white around the edges, and it really brings out every single line of that helmet. So that's something that you can do with purifiers and terminators if you're going to give them white helmets.
Yeah. So that essentially, yeah. Otherwise, I'll go with my point.
Mm-hmm.
For the proximity to theme, I'm giving it a 5 as well. Of course, it's amazing. For originality, I've given it a 4. A 3. Mm-hmm. This is mostly because while he does look pretty good, I feel like, especially this pose, I've seen a lot of Terminators, especially Terminator elites, that are in this pose and kind of look very similar. It's just it's kind of like the Space Marine Lieutenant, a paradox, where you've just seen so many of them, even the best painted one in the world just gets ruined by the fact that you've seen more of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've given it a 3. Regarding the painting skill, I agree, a 5. Splendidly well done. This is something I hope to be able to paint myself someday.
Mm-hmm.
The homeworld, while it's mentioned in the lore, it has to be on the miniature, and I see nothing here, even with the included lore, that points to the homeworld whatsoever. So based on the fact that you gave it a 2, I would be giving it a 0 to balance it out.
Okay, so I'll keep
it just doesn't follow it at all.
Okay,
I'm sorry. Regarding the photo quality, I've given it a 4 because the backdrop, while nice, it could be improved.
Mm-hmm. So what did you end up on? I'm dreading this 39 coming up again.
Total of 17.
17.
Making it a 38.
38. Okay, cool. I'm surprised by that. I thought that would score higher with both of us, but then when I do this all the time when I look at these miniatures. First of all, I'm like, oh, I love that. But then when I actually sit down to go over, we didn't mention the flames as well on the shin guards too. phenomenal stuff. This is what I mean. Like, we get these things all the time where I think, yeah, it's going to look really good, but I'm going to give that such a high score. And then when I break it down, I have time to sit down and break it down, then it starts to lower the score a bit. But yeah, you obviously have the skill. Look at the flames on those shin guards there, and the glowing everywhere, you know. So that's why I say it, when I don't see inks, when I don't see edge highlighting on the helmet, when I don't see depth elsewhere, you're just like, it's like having a kid who you know can write a really good essay, and he's just like giving you a good one. But I know you can do an amazing one. Do you know what I mean? It's there. You can see it. Just do them. Yeah. So yeah, I'd love to see people coming back with more models month after month, and them getting better as we're going. Do you know what I mean? And they're taking things on board and learning as they're going. But anyway, brilliant model. And I think this is going to be quite close, because I honestly think that we're going to be, you know, tiebreakers I'll decide at the end, but, like, I think it's going to be really, really good. So, Drip Commander Eidolon, and thankfully he's put his name in the actual, picture.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is Sigvald the Magnificent, and if you don't know who he is a champion of Slaanesh in the old Warhammer world. Well, that was unfairly killed by everything. I can say, does this have any lore to it, or you just said this is Sigvald and this is where he is, sort of a thing?
Well, he has described Sigvald and the palace, so I'll go ahead. It is a tad bit long, so I may shorten it slightly, but
Okay.
yeah. Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, champion of Slaanesh. The glory of the gilded palace shone like a golden beacon in the skies of the frozen waste, mesmerizing and terrifying many mortal minds at once. Beaten and worn-out golden statues littered the snowy ground outside of the palace, and very few were permitted entry, seeing only the shape of the perfectly beautiful lord of the palace as their final sight before succumbing to the elements. Sigvald, however, always had a warm breeze about him, so they would never feel discomfort. The ground around him would prevent dirt, mud, or any other unsightly blemish from sticking to him as he strode the grounds. The further one got from the center of the palace, the more worn and decrepit the place became. It wasn't like Sigvald to care, as new things were new and the old were old. One day, however, he seemed to recall a fountain most had forgotten existed on the grounds and set out to visit the place. His favorite decorations were still there, with a bit of tasteful age to them now. 2 glorious golden busts of himself covered with stray snow blown in the biting wind. That's it.
Alright. So, what to say about this? I kind of think this is like a, you know, it's like almost a dick measuring. Because this is, if this was in the Warhammer world, you know, exhibition boxes, I wouldn't bat an eyelid at it. I'd just go, oh, that looks really cool. Yeah, I can see how, you know, these professional painters have put this together. That's really, really cool. The actual model himself, there's lots to talk about here. So the actual model himself is actually, weirdly, the worst bit of this entire thing. If you look at the amazing details on that mosaic floor, the Slaanesh sigil there as well. Now, before I even get into the busts and the fountain at the back, which is, to me, the real centerpiece of the model, of the diorama. But the Sigvald model, let me just get onto it. Gold, yeah, it's been edge highlighted really well. But here's the thing with gold, and this is why I don't really like looking at custodians that much if they're all gold. There's only so much you can do with it. There's literally only so much you can do with gold. You've done exactly what you can do with gold. That's it. Paint it nicely, and edge highlight it with Stormhost Silver. With some Seraphim Sepia in there as well, mixed with a bit of Norn Oil. Beautifully painted. I really like the way that his face has been done. I like the fact that you haven't tried to give him eyes. I know that sounds weird, but Sigvald is a sick individual. And so he should be beautiful, but also really terrible to behold and things like that. I love the way that you've done the hair as well. Again, it's a brilliantly painted model. There's only so much you can do with gold. It just is what it is, right? But looking behind him, at the real centerpiece of the model, is that face in the wall and the fountain. That is a phenomenal piece of work. And this is why I said it's kind of like a dick measuring contest. Because that... I've not seen anybody in any of these competitions actually do something like that before. Like, that looks absolutely superb.
Mark, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go on.
But if you look at the tiles that Sigvald is standing on,
yep,
those are actual quartz or fake quartz tiles, and likely the face is also fake quartz. He cheated a bit.
Okay, fake quartz. What do you mean fake quartz? Why? How is that cheating?
Look, I'm saying they're not painted.
Oh, they're not painted. Oh yeah, I know that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I know they're not painted. But I really like the effect of the water. Is what I was gonna say. I wonder whether that is resin or whether you've done that entirely yourself or whether you've glued that in there. But I really do like it. I really think that it's an amazing diorama. At the end of the day, we asked them to be in a diorama. You've done that. You've given us snow. You've given us some lore. The busts are also really well done. There is so much work that's gone into this. It's kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to do my scores. In terms of proximity to theme, it's 5. Here's heroic. Yeah. Originality, I'm going to give this... It's got to be a 5 because I've not seen something like this done before, at least today so far. And in terms of your actual idea process, this is a beautiful model and it's done extremely well. So originality is going to get a 5. Painting skill, I'm going to give this a 4, simply because there's only so much you can do with gold. And as I was going to pick out before, there's only so much paint on this, right? The busts are painted, the model's painted, the terrain's painted, obviously, and you've got some Valhalla Blizzard down there as well. But in terms of paint on the model, there's only like 20% of this diorama has been painted, really, when you think about it. So we're getting a 4 for that, but it's well painted. It's not badly painted. It's really well painted. In terms of home world, that is a 5. You stuck exactly to the brief. We can see the home that he's in. You've described it in the lore as well, and it all meshes in together really, really nicely. And in terms of photo quality, now, here's the controversial bit. I'm gonna give this a 3. Not because it's a bad diorama, but just because it deserved more in terms of lighting, shadows, backdrop, the lot. It deserved a lot more. I think you're an extremely talented modeler in terms of creating models and creating dioramas, and this deserved more of a weird aesthetic lighting, because if you can put all that effort into making this, you can give it some lighting. So I'm judging you on what your skill level is, and so we really need some lights here. But anyway, what do you think, Oasis, about this one? I'm interested to hear what you think.
All right. So regarding the whole diorama in its entirety, I think it really fits well together. Though the way what's his name, Sigvald, is holding that sword kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know why he'd even be holding his weapons, but no matter. Mm-hmm. The snow mixed in with those beautiful red roses, I just really, really enjoy. It helps keep that ground popping out a bit more. The fountain at the back is splendidly well done. The baby face or whatever it is, it looks as if the water is actually pouring out, and the wave effect made in the pool at the bottom is absolutely splendid. Regarding the model itself and the 2 busts, the bits that are painted, I agree that this gold is a tad bit bland. You can't do much with gold. The shield and the sword appear to have just been some lighter silver. Just in general, everything except for the face and the hair, I feel, is nothing incredibly impressive. I've been certainly blown away a lot more by other miniatures that we've looked at today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you combine the model from our first entry with this, you would get like an instant winner. Like that could be a golden demon level model.
So I believe that the diorama is going to give a lot more points than the painting itself, personally. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of been reflected with what I've listed, essentially.
Okay.
I've given it a 5 for proximity to theme. It is certainly on theme. Incredibly well done. Originality, I've never seen anything like this when it comes to Warhammer 40k, Warhammer AOS even. Just absolutely splendid. It really takes you out of the whole everything is war aspect, and you actually see something that is peaceful.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Regarding the painting skill, I gave it a 2 because it really just doesn't stun me, and I'm looking for something stunning. When I look at all the other miniatures, they certainly pop out a lot more. Mm-hmm. For the what's the 4th one? The homeworld, again 5, perfectly fits the homeworld. the only thing that could match this is essentially Acadian sitting on Cadia.
Yeah.
It's that it's that level. He's sitting in his palace on his home world.
Yeah.
And then for pictures, I agree with you regarding the fact that we definitely needed more lighting, and just in general, I feel like you're supposed. The way these pictures are taken make it look as if it's a bleak skied place, but in reality, is it not meant to be a beautiful sunny day? And so the miniature isn't really shown in its natural habitat, if you can say natural habitat.
So on that, again, this is why I like to hear what Oasis has to say, because I might update what I'm doing when he picks something out. So originality, I bumped up from a 5 to a 6, because for the painting of our first entry, we bumped up from a 5 to a 6, so I've done that for originality, because it's that original. What was your total for 3 and 4? So what was 3's total that you gave it?
The totality that I gave for everything, I gave it a 20.
That was for the last one? For 3?
For the last one, I gave it a
17. And this one was a 20.
Yep.
All right. We have a new leader, 43 out of 50.
Splendid.
All right, brilliant. Well done to Drip Commander. Win, lose, or draw. Splendid. Really well done. Right, we have a Barbarian man next, and this is from, let me just have a look here.
Loken.
Loken, yes. Whenever I see that name, I'm like, oh, somebody's done a Loken miniature, and then it's not Loken. So, let's do some lore. Has he sent anything in?
Known as Gruk One-Eye, this pit fighter has been wandering the northlands of Midgard in search of a worthy challenger. Perhaps it will be you whose destiny it is to put his prestige to the test.
All right. So, well, he's going to get away with this because he's a wanderer. So it's like, he's son of a bitch. So he doesn't have a home. I don't need to show the home if he doesn't have one.
God damn you! You're not getting points for it.
Yeah. You're not sneaking away with it. I will say, I love the model. It really screams old school D&D to me, like an old school D&D miniature, or something that you would get from Hero Quest or something. This is the kind of model, if you'd ever seen a channel called Bardic Broadcasts, this is the kind of model that would really get his juices flowing. Like, he would love shit like this. It's heroic. Look at the size of his fucking calves, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, his thighs. You know, that's why we go to the gym, lads. Those are the thighs you want. But in terms of his left arm, it just bugs me because it looks like a noodle. Do you know what I mean? It looks like it's one of those. Do you know when your arm inflates, like swells up ridiculously? Do you know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me. But I love the definition of the flesh. I think something's gone wrong on that left arm because if you can see the shadows of all of the bits of muscle and things like that on everywhere else, it's really defined, but that left arm isn't. I really love the proportions of him. He looks like he's so used to lifting things up, like he just got this bit of a slim waist, you know, bit odd, but proportions are a little bit off there. But in terms of the metal work, now this is what really stood out to me, is I love the burnished feel of the center of the weapons and the armor where it's metal, and how it's been rubbed away at the edges, like these have actually been used. This looks like a really nicely grounded model that I really, really, really like the look of. Again, something's gone on with that left arm, which is bugging me. But even in different lights, you've done it in different lights as well. He's a beautiful model, and you should be really, really, really proud of this. So, I will do my scores, and then we will jump over to Oasis. So, proximity to theme, that is a 5. He is heroic. He is standing there in a heroic pose, ready to go. In terms of originality, he is getting a 3. He is a, as I said before, he is a D&D standard barbarian figure, standing in the woods. Excellent stuff, but, you know, not that original, but it's good. I like it. Painting skill, I'm going to give that a 4. It would be getting a 5 if not for that left arm. It just draws the eye, and I don't like it. And it's something, again, it's easy fixable as well. Just snap it off and get another arm and put it on there and go to town, essentially. So, home world, that is getting a 1 from me because we've tried. You haven't tried to dodge the rules there. You know what I mean? We're being unfair, but he is not at home. He is not in his own element. He's not in his own place, right? Do you know what? I'm going to up that to a 2 because technically he is a wanderer, so he is in his own place if he's in the wild. Do you know what I mean? So I'll up that to a 2. In terms of photo quality, I'm going to put that as a 4, simply because I like the fact that you've gone to so much effort in making sure that it's lit properly, and that what we're seeing it from not different angles, but we're seeing it under different light sources and different shadows. The metalwork as well, I really love. So I might up your score in terms of painting to a 5, but it's the left arm, man. The left arm's just bugging me. I don't know what it is. What do you think before I add all this up?
Alright, so in my case, I believe that it's an amazing looking miniature. I actually know the person that makes this line of miniatures. This is a Pagan Miniatures miniature. And it's really great to see Loken's skill applied to one of these, because they look really good. They're very high quality miniatures. And I feel like, indeed, the arms have let him down a bit, and the face just seems to lack just texture to make a good face. You can see, if you zoom in on his face, you'll see that it's a bit, I wouldn't say crusty, but it just lacks what the rest of the miniature does have.
Yeah, I think that's one of it, isn't it? Like, when that's a frustrating bit when we know you've got skill, because look at the rest of the model, you know, and it's almost like you almost wonder what happened there. If you want to talk to us in the comments, by the way, do so, just to tell us, like, oh yeah, because people learn from mistakes all the time, and this is the best way to do it. But anyway, sorry, I've hijacked you. Go on, carry on there.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So for proximity to theme, I gave it a solid 5. He's a champion. This guy looks like he'd be the king of a brawl arena. Proximity to theme, I've given it a. Just a moment, I lost myself. Okay. Proximity to theme and done. Originality, there you go. So you've given it a 3, I've given it a 2, just because he looks way too generic, like your average barbarian. There's nothing that makes him stand out from others. While the painting skill is amazing, the miniature has let him down in some places. So I've given him a 4 for that. For the home/home world, I agree with you, giving him a 1. And then for the photos, I gave him a 4 as well. There's some things that are left to be desired, but otherwise it's quite well done.
What was your total?
For a total of 16.
Okie dokie. 34. 16 equals 34. Excellent. Right. Moving on to our next miniature. We're making good time. This is good.
Splendid.
There is a back to the model there as well that we looks beautiful. Anyway, so we have my personal favourite next. Now, just because it's my personal favourite doesn't mean it's going to win, because there may be better painted models up there. Just is what it is. But this is a Noise-Marine. Would you like to? Is there any lore that's been given for the Noise-Marine doing his gig?
Alrighty. Yes, there is indeed. Funnily enough, there was a photo for this that had some demon hands doing the pinky thumb thing. I forget what it's called. The rock and roll sign.
The devil horns.
But
yeah.
I think it was removed, sadly. Oh. But demons from all 4 chaos realms attend in order to rock and roll as this absolute stud strums the sickest rhythms that even make Papa Nurgle himself jealous. Personally congratulated by Slanesh for spreading their hedonistic tunes, and thus awarded a special light-up bolt guitar as their prize.
All right.
I tried to say that in a stupid voice, and it didn't work.
Well, I think that the accent makes it. I absolutely adore this. I adore pretty much everything about this model. I love the one thing I like the most. One is the fretting fingers. But it's the effect the fingers are having on those guitar strings, where you can see the power like emanating out of them, like they're magic. I love that. Look back, he's standing on a loyalist helmet too. That's really funny. Like the speakers, everything about him is perfect. This is the thing that really annoys me. Like, this would have won. I'm telling you now, but he's not. This isn't a home world.
He is in his element. However.
He is in his element. So you will get points, but it's not sticking directly to the brief. You know, if I've taken points off elsewhere, I've got to take points off here, even though it's my personally favourite model. I love the no loyalists allowed on the back. There's just so much love and attention to detail put into this model and it's just funny. It's just part of Warhammer that's just absurdist and really, really clever. Again, metallics. Please ink your metallics. This is such a good model, but the metallics aren't inked. So make sure that we bring them down so they're not they're not as blocky and cartoony. We want it to be, this model deserves that treatment. Edge highlighting on the black would have served it well as well. Like, some edge highlighting on the well, not the shoes, the boots, on the pauldrons, or all different things. As an idea, as a proof of concept, and as an actual thing that you put together, this is a 10 out of 10. I love this. I love everything about this, and I think you're incredibly, incredibly talented. I didn't even say who you were. This is Magos. So Magos, well done, mate. This is amazing, and it's personally from my favourite model today. But again, so you guys know that there's no favoritism. Like, I'm not sure this is going to win. I will give my pointers now, though. Proximity to theme, I'm giving it a 6 out of 5. Because when people have gone above and beyond, they get 1 point more, and this is definitely one of those that you've definitely hit it out the park. He is the most heroic of heroic models that we've seen today, and I love it. Writing skill as well, well done. Originality, that is a 5. It could have gotten a 6, but I'm only going to give 1 6 per person. That was amazing. It is completely original. It's completely your own thing. I mean, look at the back where it says no traitors allowed, no loyalists allowed. I love it. Everything about this model, it screams originality and, your own voice. Brilliant. Painting skill, that's getting a 4. Losing of some marks because of the lack of edge highlighting, lack of stuff on the metallic work. But apart from that, nicely painted. Home world is getting a 2. He is in his element, so you're getting some points. In fact, I'm going to give it a 3. He is in his element, so you're getting some points, but you could have gotten a 5 if you'd have just told us where he's from. Maybe he's in a show that's in one of his own palace, on one of a Slaanesh's pleasure world, something like that. Anything like that, we could have tied us into the model a little bit better. And photo quality is another 5 from me, simply because you've done different lighting sources. It looks like he's at a gig. It looks like all of the lights. He looks like he's at a gig. So what do you think? Moving forwards.
I personally also adore this model. I actually bought this one for a friend who plays guitar a few months ago, and he made me 3D print some speakers that look exactly like this for him, which is actually the funniest part. And it's actually why I removed the point from originality, because I've seen so many of this model. This is a limited edition Slaanesh model, quote unquote, that GW's been selling for a while now. Everybody either prints a drummer, a bassist, another thing off cults, or prints/makes speakers for the model. And while it does look amazing, I've seen it way too much. I'm sorry. If you look up this model, like on Instagram, on Reddit, wherever, you're gonna find so many of these with speakers. So regarding proximity to theme, I've given it a 5 because it's absolutely splendid, and it has been said that Slaanesh, him, or themselves actually awarded him a bolt guitar. So he's most certainly a champion of Slaanesh. Regarding the originality, I bumped it from a 4 down to a 3 due to the previously stated things regarding the speakers and the likes. Painting skill, I've given it a 4. It looks absolutely splendid, very well painted. I love the strings as well. The sign on the back that says no loyalists allowed is a bit hard to read because that red just kind of merges into that brown, but it hasn't removed anything. It's just a comment from myself. Regarding the home, I really feel like home, I specifically listed it as home/homeworld because I wanted some people to take the fact that their character was in element, they are at home. This guy cares only about spreading the vibes, the tune. And so he is at home. He feels like he is truly himself, blasting that guitar for whoever wants to hear it. So I've given it a 4.
I got mine to a 4 as well. That was a well-made point. Good point, well made.
The different colors on the different angles of the photos just shows that this is so much of a party that the cameraman himself, in order to take different angles, had different lights turned on. Whatever. I just like the fact that it looks like a party in all these photos. So I've given it a 5 because it's really original and really nice.
Okay, so what?
Like even the base is colored. You can, if you look at the base, you can see there's purple on there.
I think we might have a new leader actually. Looking at it. So what did you give it overall?
I gave it a 21.
A 21. Let me see. 21. We do have a new leader by 2 points.
Oh boy.
By 2 points. 45. 45 out of 50. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so 7. Oasis. Time to clench your asshole.
Oh,
no. So this is a... Do you have any lore for this, by the way, before we move on?
I do indeed have some lore for this. I just need to scroll down to it. Just give me a moment. There we are. A revolting stench wafts around the foul blight spawn, his corruption clouding the air itself. Breath rattles through the pus-slick tubes as he cranks the rusted handles of his malignant churn, bellows wheezing and the plague slop roiling in the tank upon his back. Some direct their fire at the blight spawn, shots rebounding from his armor or thumping harmlessly through the rotted flesh in sprays of effluence. The wise flee for their lives. With a grunt of satisfaction, the Blightspawn deems his mixture ready and raises the nozzle of his plague sprayer. A gurgling surge, peristaltic urging, and a fountain of stinking slime engulfs the enemy. Flesh melts like wax, armor bubbles and corrodes, souls rot and bones crumble. As the last of his targets devolve into infectious sludge, the Blightspawn chuckles and nods to himself before lumbering on in search of fresh victims. This is his home, his true purpose, to spread putrescence and disease in the name of Father Nurgle.
All right. The thing that jumps out to me first is the arm in the sludge. just made me chuckle when I saw it. Just like it's just arms coming out. If that was like the Doom thing where he's just like giving a thumbs up on the way down as well, that would be just, you know, even better. Like so Nurgle. The one thing I really like as well is the tank on the back. That is something that I've not seen before, especially with it all done before. What was that from?
So this is actually the model itself.
Oh, is it?
Everything except for the base is the original model. So this is actually just a fairly unused elite character for Death Guard.
Okay.
And if you look at the rear there, you can see some kind of like purple looking tube coming from the tank to his spewer. And so the lore behind this guy is that he has a tank full of plagues that he spews everywhere, and you can see the nozzle that he's holding with his arm.
Yeah. Okay. Number 1, really nicely painted. The metallics, did you put non oil on the metallics? On any of these?
Earthshade.
Agrax Earthshade. Could be darker, a little bit darker. The only reason I'm saying that, because if you look at the thing on the pack that he's got on his back, the tank, you can see where, in the middle picture, you can see where there's... Well, it's actually on OBS now if you want to have a look. But there's a bit of brass that goes onto the left, that goes onto the actual tank itself. If we do non-oil, that's gone. Like, you can't see that anymore. It's all deepened down, do you know what I mean? And it brings out that really dingy, dirty look, you know, on the model. So in terms of painting, I'd say this is on par with most of the ones that we've seen today. Where it stands out is the actual ingenuity of the base and how it's all meshing in together. The way that the lore is meshing into what he's doing and his pose as well. We're going to lose a point for originality because it's, as you said, it's just the model. This is how it comes. I was originally going to give it loads of points because I've never seen that tank before, and I thought that's just so well done. But I do love the base. The base is like, ideally, weirdly, my favourite part of the model. It's dirty, it's scuffed, and this is exactly the kind of thing that you can do if you're a Nurgle player or a Nurgle painter, that sometimes you're like, oh, happy accidents, you know? Like I can't do bases like this, because I'd like mine to be like pristine, like snow here, and, you know, Martian iron earth there, you know. But this is just like slurped all over the place, and I really like the fact that he's finished his work and he's like looking around. Brilliant stuff. So let's do some marking here. So in terms of proximity to theme, it's a 5. Like he's exactly the theme. He's standing there. He's ready to go. He's in a heroic pose. And because I know you've used the bog standard model, but you've used the bog standard model with a non-standard base, which has really offset what he's doing. You know, it's really put it into a really cool light. Originality, that's going to get a 3 because again, it's just the bog standard model. Like you've not really done that much to it in terms of changing it, but the base itself is where the points are coming from for originality. Really lovely stuff. And again, he's even painted in a normal Death Guard way. So, you know, you lose 2 points for originality because it's just a Death Guard straight out the box. But the base itself is getting 3.
I would like you to keep in mind that you didn't know that until I told you, though, and nobody else in the competition that participates is allowed, or has the chance to tell you anything about their models.
That's true.
Than that little bit.
That's true. I'll give you a 4. There you go. Good point. Painting skill, that's going to get a 4. Simply because it's well painted. Like, it's not... I would say it would be wrong of me to give this a 5 when we saw the original model and that got a 6. Do you know what I mean? Or that we saw the last model and that got a 5. No model and before got a 5. You know what I mean? So it'd be wrong of me to then give this a 5 because it's not at that level, but it is good, well painted. So I will say that is a definite 4. Where are we now? Home world. Explain to me again on the lore. How is he on his home world? What's going on?
So essentially, I also went with the in his elements aspect.
Okay.
At the last sentence, as the last of his targets devolve into infectious sludge, the Blightspawn chuckles and nods to himself before lumbering on in search of fresh victims. This is his home, his true purpose, to spread putrescence and disease in the name of Nurgle.
Okay.
So it's essentially the same sort of bliss that the previous Chaos guitarist was in.
Yeah.
In fact, especially Blightspawns in lore, they're just mindless spewers. They're a water gun that walks around and just sprays anything they see.
So, I gave the last one a 4, so I'm going to give this one a 4 too, for that. Yeah, because, as you say, it's basically exactly the same, in terms of, he's in his element, he's at home, you went for the same thing, and you got the same points. Right, in terms of photo quality, there are multiple angles here, and most of the pixels are taken up by the model. So I'm going to give that a 5. I really like that. The fact that most of the... In fact, well, there's no different lighting, because I have taken points off other people for that. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. Because there are multiple angles. I like the fact that you've not hidden any of the details. You've gone, look, here's all the details. You can definitely see what I'm doing. I love that. So that's where the 4 points are coming from. But the lack of different lighting, I reckon with some really, really sickly lights or sickly shadows, we can make this look even better. So that's why we're getting a 4 for that. So that...
You'll have to show me that later. Sickly lights.
Sickly lights. Well, greeny, browns, darkness, things like that. 10, 15, 20, 25, minus 1, 2, 3, 4.
Then double it.
And then double it. Brilliant. I'm just making sure that we got all the ones from before done properly. And 4 and 4 equals times 2. Okay, 42. There you go. That is a fucking good score, actually. 42. I do think, though, because you are harsher than me, if you were judging your own work, this would be lower. But, like...
You never know.
3rd place, man. I mean, it's good.
I'm happy with it. I got a pat on the back, apparently.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's no 3rd place prize, unfortunately.
That's what I listed as the 3rd place prize, actually.
You can give yourself a pat on the back.
3rd place pat on the back.
Yeah. So we have only one pin man next. You know it's only one pin man because he's put his name under it. Are there any more photographs of this?
Only one pin man. I'll take a quick look.
Because I've only gotten the one.
Yep, there's only the one.
Okay. I really like the model. I really like the paint job. I really liked what you've done with the horse. It's just hard to see it from only one angle and judge it properly. Does he have any sort of lore or anything behind that?
Let me take a quick look. Nope, it's just explaining how he acquired the model. There's nothing regarding...
Okay. That's fine. So a really nice technical model that could probably win in another week, but that hasn't properly followed the brief, right? So we've got a heroic model, definitely heroic. I mean, it's Napoleon, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? But end of the day, really nicely painted model, really nicely put together, but we can only see it from one angle. So there are at least 2 two key points where it's going to lose points, where it shouldn't do because it's a really cool model, but we've got to be fair. I really like the way he's done this. I really like the offset of the red cloak, the general's red cloak. I love that. I like the fact that it's actually a model that is not actually that defined in detail, but you've given it detail through your dry brushing and through... I can tell you absolutely love dry brushing, by the way, because it's just all over this model, but at the end of the day, you've gotten some detail out of the model that you shouldn't really be able to get detail out of, showing a huge amount of skill. So well done to you, only one pin, man. Let me just give you some marks here, because we're getting on in time. So 5 for proximity to theme. He is heroic. He's there. Originality. That is getting a 4 from me. It's the general's pose. This is actually a pose taken from a famous painting of Napoleon, which, you know, so... we're not going to see another model quite like this, but I still like it. And again, this looks like a model that's just right out of the box and then painted like Oasis as well, so you're getting the same points. Painting skill is a 4. I really like it. I think that, again, it's on par with our last model. It's nicely dry brushed. It is edge highlighted in some points as well. You've attempted eyes too, which is fantastic. But we're only seeing one angle of it, which is where we're going to start losing points. So home world is a... well, I've got to give it a 2. I think Oasis might give it a 1, but I've got to give it a 2 because, like other people in this showcase, you've followed the brief for the heroic person, but not put him on his home. You could say the battlefield is his home, but we're stretching the rules a bit too far when we start making excuses for people when they're not following the brief. And in terms of photo quality, that is also another 2. We've only got one angle, and we can't, for all we know, the back of the model's not even painted, right? So we need to... This would have gotten easy, maybe 3rd place, maybe pushing 2nd place, if we had more angles, and we followed the brief where he's at his home, right? Somehow, with a little bit of lore. What do you think, Oasis?
Alright, so I have some pretty similar feelings on it regarding this. Proximity to theme, I gave it a 5 rather than a 4. I feel like he's more of a general than a champion, but that's just a bit of a technicality, rather, so I only removed 1 point on that. For originality, as you said, it's based off a painting, and it's a stock model, so I gave it a 2. For painting skill, while it does look nice, I gave the same comment on Only One Pinman's entry last time. It looks like an oil painting, which, while nice, doesn't really give it a 3D look. And miniatures, the greatest thing about miniatures is you have multiple angles. You have 3D looks on them. You don't have a 2D canvas. And the fact that it's only one camera angle makes that technically even worse, because we don't even know what the model looks like from any other angle. So I've given it a 3 on painting skill, a 1 on homeworld, because, as you said, we can't really stretch it. There's no lore regarding where is he. And then photo quality, I've given it also a 3, because only one photo, looks very 2D. I'm sorry, yeah.
That's fine. What was the final score?
I wish I could give it more. The final score, if you 13.
13. Alrighty. 13?
Yep.
13. Again, really lovely painted model. This isn't a takedown of skill. This is really well painted model. It's just we got one picture. You know? We've got to follow that brief. So, next, we have another one of my favourites, and this is from Stuffed. What a name.
Stuffed. Just a moment. I need to find their... Stuffed. It says you're not streaming OBS anymore, so I have to go and find it myself.
Oh.
Hi, there you go. Stuffed Lion.
Alright. Did you have any lore?
Indeed. Incredible amount of lore. On top of a Mongolian name for the Inquisitor. Alright. So, overachieving Inquisitor, Naiman Zunading Setseg. I can't speak Mongolian. I'm just going to call her Naiman. Naiman was born on Trigoris, where tribe warfare was abundant. In this pointless slaughter, Naiman and her brother lost her parents who taught them how to fight and hurt. Her parents were ripped apart in pieces, like washroom toilet paper, which was already getting. I'm sorry.
This. You'll feel my pain. Yeah, this is what I do on a daily basis.
No.
Nightmares.
All right.
Is this barely in
The
English?
parents were ripped apart like public washroom toilet paper, which always gets jammed between the cheeks of plastic container.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. There's a point for that.
Her tragedy also became her opportunity because of her martial prowess. She was selected to join Schola Progenium. Da-da-da-da-da. Joins the Sisters of Battle. There you go.
Okay, so, I'm gonna say, like, I really like the color scheme of these forces, especially you got a blade guard in the back there. I want to see that model a bit more as well. But these are beautifully religious models. Love the fleur-de-lis everywhere. I love, weirdly, the leather of the banner that she's holding. That when it's attached to the pole, it just looks like literal leather. It looks like you've just gotten some leather and put it on there. Fantastic stuff. In terms of painting, my guy, you have some serious talent. Keep painting, keep doing what you're doing, because this is sensational. Now, they are a bit weebish. so the sisters here, you know, they are a little bit like, you know, if you're going to do an anime about sisters, this is how they'd look for me. I think look great, and I really am enjoying like going over them. Middle pictures are close up, nice, but I think that the eyes and the face are like completely really well done. I love the edge highlighting everywhere. I love the way that you've done your metallics. Basically everything that I've said to do, you've done. So I may even be giving you another point for painting, because I think this is on par with our first model of the day that we went over, the Ultramarine. But this is sensational stuff. In terms of posing, I'm thinking that whenever you're posing a model like this, try not to have it looking straight on when it's pointing somewhere, because it looks like she's not even looking at where she's going. You know what I mean? I would have her just looking to the side a little bit, just so she's following where she's pointing with that banner. That's the only thing I can bring out to make this model better. A beautifully painted model, and I'm now going to mark it. And a very nicely done face, too. So, in terms of proximity to theme, that is a 5. She is heroic. She is exactly where she needs to be. In terms of originality, that is a 4 because of the basing and the way that her colour scheme matches with everybody else. I think it's a nice original colour scheme. Painting skill, that is a 6. Simply because we gave our Ultramarine friend a 6 before. This is a sensational model, or sensational group of models when you're looking at model painting. Home world. You tell me she's on Trigoris. How do I know? Again, people are going to be losing points when they don't show it on the model, don't follow the brief. I know sometimes people say, okay, I'm going to use a model that I've already got. Maybe it fits in with the brief. Maybe it does. But at the same time, if you don't make something for the competition, it can come across like, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to fit it into the criteria rather than it just fitting into the criteria, because that's how you built it. So I would say this is going to get a 2 in terms of being at home world. And in terms of photo quality, I'm going to give this a 4, because it is a lovely quality of photos. It's only let down by that face photograph. That face photograph is blurry. It looks like you've painted a beautiful face. Every single proportion is done right. All the colours are done right. Then show us. Show us. That looks amazing. I can tell it looks amazing. But I can't pick out all the details because it's not zoomed in properly. So, that's why you're getting a 4 on there. Yeah, not focused properly. So, yeah. What do you think?
I have almost exactly the same just thoughts as you, really. Beautifully painted. I absolutely adore it. I especially love the knight helmet on the base. Just a cute little addition there with the bits of rust on it. Very well done model. And especially if this is going to be a centerpiece model for your army, having this be a tad bit taller than all the other models really just makes it seem much more imposing. So regarding points, proximity to theme, I give it a 5. For originality, I wanted to give it a 5, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this model before, especially with that crossbow. So I did give it a 4. It definitely could have been.
I think it's Inquisitor Greyfax.
Possibly, I'm not entirely sure. For that painting skill, give it a 5 as well. Absolutely splendid. Really, really adore this model. For home/homeworld, I've given her a 3, and I'm going to explain why. Because she is surrounded by fellow members of the Inquisition, fellow sisters. So, in the same way that people say, we're your family now, though you may not have a blood relatives, your friends may be your family. In this case, she may be at home with others that are such as herself, essentially. And while it may be a tad bit of a stretch, I do feel like, especially with that last image, with the whole entourage behind her, you do feel like she's part of a group, and she's the spearhead of that group.
Okay. Cool.
For photos, if that face photo had been in focus, immediate 5.
Yeah.
But
maybe 6, pushing 6 if that's
possibly. I'm not the one who's giving 6s here, though. You're the one with the authorization to do that.
Okay.
I'm so very sorry. Stuffed, splendidly well. I can't speak. Splendidly well done. However, some things did let you down, and I'm looking forward to seeing your next miniatures in the company.
Definitely. This is what I mean. Like we not always the most talented hobbyist will win these things. It's who sticks to the brief. You're throwing away points by not sticking to the brief. You know, I know you've given him a 3 for Homeworld, was it? And I gave him a 2. That's where you've lost the lead, really. What was your final score?
21.
21. That is 42. So there you go.
Yeah, same as mine, and I'm gonna bring this up specifically, the fact that it was the same pointage as mine. Mine, I painted more as an example. I wasn't really intending to win this. I put it there as an example of something that North gave it 5s, 4s, 5s. It was a very straight model that followed all of the regulations, and even though it may not be the best painter, and it may not be the best model, it was a base model.
Yep.
It still got really good points.
Yep.
8 points away from getting the maximum point count that you can get. And so if you show me in North, and hopefully soon our third judge, that you are following our criteria, that is why our criteria exists, by the way, to make sure that we can test every single part of your hobbying skill. If you can show us you can fit that criteria, you will win.
Yeah, I mean, if you can follow the brief, you're going to get 40 plus points. And then everything above that is your own skill. And that's how we're going to differentiate it.
Exactly.
This is the 10th and final entry, I think, in terms of the non-honourable mentions. So, let's have a look here. Trejo, Inquisitor Trejo. So, this I was excited to show, because I looked at this before and I thought, wow, this is splendid. A lovely, lovely ghostly graveyard covered in snow, where an apparition is being a sword pointed at her by what looks like a Varangard from Age of Sigmar. I might be wrong. This is great. I love everything about this. The lighting really makes it stand out. Trejo, I need to take my hat off to you, my friend. This is some beautiful work. Absolutely. One of my favourites. It really is one of my favourites. In fact, I think that's a third-party rider there. But it doesn't matter. We're not judging that way. So, yeah, an absolutely beautiful set of models here. And it's telling a story, too. So, Oasis, what has been happening in this story? Has he sent you any lore in?
Aye, indeed. Just 2 sentences, though.
Okay.
Sir Einar, once a mighty warrior whose pride led him to a gruesome death on one of the battlefields of the old world, now a champion of the wild hunt, his duty is to collect the pure souls of small children to escort them to the afterlife, because those spirits shine the brightest and attract old dark things.
Fucking hell, dark.
So a rider of the wild hunt has come to collect a small child being held by her mother, who is also dead.
I am going to say this. I know we said like that, no, the winner might have already been chosen. I think this is a real contender for me. This just strikes so many feelings of what a diorama can do for a story. I love this. Like I can't, and it's so simple. Like it's not like a model that's been painted to be this golden demon batterer. it's such a simple, beautifully simple idea, painted to a really good level, and then that's it. You know that old phrase where, you know something's perfect, but there's nothing left to take away, nothing left to add? That's exactly what this is. It's a simple message, and it shows you exactly what's going on. And the lore, here's why we encourage you to make lore, because the lore really makes it sing out and do all of its thing. I'm going to say that this has followed the brief in terms of home, because he's bringing the kid home. That's the part of the lore that he's told us. That's why you should write good lore, or try to, right? He's bringing this kid home. The mother is giving the kid over, right? In fact, I don't think that's the mother. I think that's the actual child holding a doll, which is even.
I'm not entirely sure.
Which is, if you look at the last image, it's of it's a doll. So it's the kid holding a doll, and she.
Doll, yeah, I'm sorry.
And she doesn't look like she's scared. She's going home. That's an absolute beautiful sentiment, and I just even the eye of the horse is glowing as well. Mate, you've done a splendid job, and if it doesn't win, my hat's off to you, because this is the one I've mostly enjoyed today. So let me give you some points. Proximity to theme, 5. He is very heroic. In terms of originality, that's where you're going to score your 6. Because it is really original. The lore helps out so much. It is a fantastic, fantastic model and diorama. Painting skill, I'm going to give that a 4. Mostly because, again, it's a nicely blocky painted. It's not a Golden Demon winner, as I said. That standard is for 5s and 6s. It is a well-painted model, and I love the way that you've done the lights. The lights especially is where you've gotten your 4 points from. Okay, home and home world, I'm giving you another 4. I was going to give you a 3, but the more I thought about it, and when you picked that out in your own lore as well, that he's taking her back to this other place because the souls that's where she's going home, that's where she's going to be. Brilliant. Okay, I really like the way that you've done the brief there. And the photo quality is going to get a 5, mainly because there are multiple photographs. Number 1, you haven't shied away from any of the details. Number 2. And do you know what, actually? Yeah, I'm going to give you a 4. It's going to get a 4. Bear with me. It's only getting a 4 because of the lighting. And I pulled other people up on this, so I've got to stay fair. The lighting isn't... This model, much like the Sigvald model, deserves better lighting than this. You've put in so much effort, and it is one of the best dioramas, probably the best diorama we've had. I'll go out and say it, right? So far.
Agreed.
It deserves better lighting than this. So, always take pride in your models, always take pride in your work, and always give it the best chance you can to shine properly and have it actually be what you want. Oasis, what do you think of this great model?
I honestly couldn't say it better than you have. I adore this, and that little bit of lore that was added has just bumped up 3 of my scores. Because I scored this while you were talking about it, and just listening to you talk about it made me bump up 3 scores.
Okay.
Because I absolutely love how well it's come together. And while it may not be Golden Demon, it may not be an incredibly exquisite long story, it's one of those... It's similar to how indie video games work. Small game, small developers, not much, but it has so much within it that makes it so much bigger than it could ever be. I love it. This is really what I think people should strive their dioramas to be. And so in that case, I've given it a 5 for champion, a 5 for originality, 4 for painting skill, 4 for home, and 4 for photo quality.
All right, that's a total of?
That is a total of 22.
Oh, I got a tie for first.
Dear.
45. Okay, 22.
So, shall we flip a coin?
No, I'm going to pick a winner out of the 2.
Alrighty then. Let's hear it.
So, first of all, whilst I decide that, I'm going to hand you over to Oasis, who's going to mention our honourable mentions that I'm about to put up on the screen right now. So first, we have we have Jaeger with his Space Marine. What is the story between the larger and the smaller Space Marines, actually, on this?
Jaeger, and I have his story right here.
Okay.
His journey and acceptance to the Watch Fortress complete, and kneeling before the statue at the gate in vigil, Brother Umbrus awaits the chance to erase past misdeeds. A new name adopted, old loyalties cast aside, never asked about or spoken of, armor ritually cleansed and repainted, upgraded in parts to match his new role, though keeping a few parts from the armor that had served him for the last 10,000 years of real time. Arising as the Watchmaster beckons and silently following before being attached to a kill team bound for an incursion into the sector, ready to bring his practiced craft to paralyze Xeno's command structures, spreading confusion and terror among the remaining troops, making them all the easier for his new comrades to mop up.
Alrighty. So how come this is in honorable mentions?
So I believe that the other miniatures submitted in the competition in most ways were a lot better. For example, in pretty much all the photos, it's very obvious that the diorama itself is constructed using styrofoam. It wasn't very well painted over. The miniatures themselves are quite nice. I really enjoy them. Though, if you look at the kneeling Marine, there are a few small paint scuffs, and the lore doesn't really fit the reason that the larger Primaris would be running towards him like that. And so, just in general, while it looks nice, I enjoy what they did with the floor. The miniatures look decent. I don't feel like, first, that it fit the criteria for the competition. Champion, sure. Homeworld, no. The diorama itself lacked when compared to other dioramas we saw, and the posing didn't really suit other than the kneeling. Just in general, I thought there are some much better miniatures that deserve it a lot more.
Okay. Let's jump over to our next honorable mention. I've got a winner, by the way, but then let's go over to the...
Sounds splendid.
All right, Harlequin. Who is this by? It's by Messam.
Found him. So, the reason... Oh, let's start with the lore. Hearing the call of Kugorak, armed with a relic glaive from the vaults deep in the labyrinths of the Black Library, he traveled into the webway packed by his troop ready to spill some demon blood. Once again, it was the lack of following the criterion, as well as the images looking quite cloudy, that generally just didn't let us get a good look at the miniature, and also didn't fit the competition. So while it is an amazingly well-painted miniature, based off what I can see, it looks quite good. Things like, if you look at the pink ribbon is just a solid pink, and the fact that the lore doesn't really fit what we asked for. In general, I believe that there were, for example, Trejo's and Biomes miniatures just deserved it a lot more.
Alrighty, and we have I think this is the final one, Soto. This one impressed me with the sheer amount of models on display.
Ah, yes, the demon. So while the demon horde surrounding, I believe it's sister, looked absolutely amazing, especially with the amount of miniatures. If you zoom in on the sister in the image,
I've got it. Yeah,
you'll see that the painting quality is minimal. A lot of spilling over, a lot of issues there. The diorama in of itself looks amazing. It just required a lot more time, especially considering this was our first submitted miniature and was submitted just a few weeks after the start of the competition. Not considering the ground of the diorama appears to have a hole in it.
As ground tends to do.
Well, if you look at from the top down, it appears large black gaping hole.
Yeah.
And this is made of sand. Why wouldn't the sand gape in?
Yeah, that's true. I sort of thought maybe she climbed out of it and she's surrounded, sort of a thing. I don't know. But yeah,
I have no idea.
Brilliant model though. I really like it. So we do have a winner. So it was between our Noise Marine. We go all the way back here. It was between our lovely Noise Marine and our tragic, backstoried diorama. Honorable mention for me would be the Sigvald diorama. Absolutely brilliant work, dude. Like, amazing stuff. It is going to go to Trejo. It is going to go to Trejo because... simply because I couldn't justify not giving it to you, because at the end of the day, I really loved the Noise Marine, but there were certain points that I took off for that I felt were more severe than what you got. Do you know what I mean? I actually gave him more points than Trejo. I gave him 24 points when Trejo got 23. But I think overall, in terms of what it made me feel and how it made me talk and how it got to me and how I really liked it, man, it's a sensational piece of art for me, essentially. So yeah, first place will go to Trejo. Congratulations, you have £20 of a free purchase to just tell me what you need from Composite Games and I'll get it to you. If you want to do, if it's £5 above or below that, I don't mind either. You know, it's fine. And we also have who did the Noise Marine?
The Noise Marine is congratulations to Magos Rasputin.
Magos Rasputin, you have a £15 in well, no, £10 was it? Yeah, £10 was it? When I'm
yep,
gonna,
£10.
yeah, £10. No, £15. There you go. I've got it. £15 in some models, or essentially a spray can from Composite Games, but it's free. Hey, you know, is what it is. Also, if you want to do £5 above or below, if you really wanted something, again, I don't mind. So, congratulations to you two. Big well done to everybody who threw in your models. I really enjoyed going over them. Big thanks to Oasis for being the backbone of our showcase as we do it on the channel, making sure he's staying on top of these things. Big thank you for watching, and congrats. Well, oh, by the way, Oasis, have you thought of a brief for our next hobby competition, which we will be judging on Sunday, August the 28th. So I'll pencil it in.
Splendid. I was thinking, rather than a champion, this time we're going to go with a small unit of characters. Not characters, a small unit of troops. Okay. So if you're into Poxwalkers, go Poxwalkers, Guardsmen, Sisters, Space Marines. Just make it 5 or more models.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all.
So is there any sort of theme that we're looking at? Because that is one of the criteria, isn't it, for our marking? So we've got so today it was home and home world. So that's the one that trips people up. So what are we going to do to try and trip people up this time?
We want the troops to act in unison.
Okay, so as an example, if you've got 5 or 6 Imperial Fists, try putting them in a phalanx with locked shields, right? Unison. So we're looking for a group of brothers or sisters, you know, a group of people in a heroic, you know, in a group, a squad, essentially. But they've got to be acting in unison. That's the big word, unison. All together. All pushing in the same direction. All fighting the same thing. Whatever. They've got to be doing a certain goal. They could even be pulling a rope. Anything. They've got to be working as a team. Alright. Thank you very much, Oasis. And, guys, we'll see you next time. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I actually forgot to mention for you, but Trejo, he sent in a hobby nightmare to you where he actually fucked up that diorama and then fixed it.
I remember reading that. Oh my god, I can't believe that one. Oh, well.
Which is why I'm really glad you chose it.
Redemption. Okay, cool. There you go. Like my advice, I told him to get happy accidents, and here you are with your happy accident.
Happy accident, indeed.
So, well done to Trejo, and thank you so much for sending all your stuff in. Cheers, Oasis, and we'll speak to you guys next time. Have a good one.